Okay, we should be good. Welcome to class, guys. Welcome. So, today we're going to be going over human design. And we're going to talk about something that I feel like I figured out. I haven't seen anyone else talk about it, so I'm going to just say I figured it out. And what it is, basically, in short, we all, well, most of us know about human design, and each of us have our own, like, we each have our own role in human design. Like either you're a projector, you're a manifestor, you're a reflector, or whatever else, right? But me, I think in systems, so something didn't click there, like it didn't stop there. And um, if you know anything about information and getting downloads, then you know what this is. I just start writing and it all started coming to me and it made sense. And I made a system that incorporates every subset in human design and it shows us how it actually goes together. So I think that human design is not meant to be separate. We are supposed to understand our roles so that we can apply them in the bigger picture. And we're about to get straight into that. So first things first. First things first. We are going to get into I'm not going to get in depth about everything, honestly, not about how it came up. I really don't know all of that. I just really know the four roles and I know how they work together. So we're going to get into the roles and we're going to start with, let's see what I want to start with today. We're going to start with mine, of course. We're going to start with mine, and I am a beautiful projector. I'm a projector. I'm a projector. I'm a projector. So, sorry guys about the noise. I'm trying to move the mic so that I can actually make sure that y'all hear me. So that should be good. I'm sorry about the noise. So, projector. What is a projector? Um, a projector in human design is more of a guide, and there's so much information on the internet about it. You can go look it up. I do know for sure that there are two types of human design. It's kind of split into two main subsets. You have energy types and you have non-energy types. So, non-energy type just means that your sacral center is open, you don't produce your own energy, and the non-energy types are projector and reflector, and the energy types are manifestor and generator, and the subset manifesting generator. So, here, I hope y'all can see, we have projector, and I have it's a non-energy type, right? And 22% of the population is a projector. And the duty of projectors is to transform and convert. And you'll understand a little bit more what I mean when I show you all the graphic. I think in systems, I think in engineering terms. So this is how I broke it down. And I said the projector acts like a reactor. So it acts as a reactor. If you know what a reactor is, in manufacturing in a chemical plant, it's basically a big mechanical system that is high heat, high pressure, and it restructures whatever enters it and creates something new. So basically, in my eyes, a projector is like a reactor, and what a reactor does is transforms and converts. So you have ethylene and you put it through a reactor, you can get polyethylene if you mix it with peroxide, but the high heat and high pressure is what really allows the change in structure of the chemicals to happen. That's not really super important here. The important part is, for simple terms, so everyone can remember, projectors transform and convert. So, what we're going to do is look at this. And I'm gonna upload it on the screen too because last time I did not do that and we really couldn't see. So here we have a projector, and like I was saying, I think in terms of systems. So I mapped out every type as a system. And after doing that, I've seen how they all came together. They all come together in one specific way. And when you understand that, you understand how important your role is and how to show up. So, projector. Like every system, it needs an input, but I will say with every single subset, every single one of these energy types needs input. In my opinion, that input is what people call, whatever people call it, I think it's God, it's the energy that rules the world, the energy that dwells in us all and everything. I don't know, consciousness, whatever people call it. Everyone, you need the input, right? But for projectors, since projectors are non-energy types, right, and you cannot generate energy, projectors are transforming and converting. Like I said, they're transforming and converting, so they have to receive. So this pump allows them to receive. Keep in mind, the pump allows them to receive. So the projector receives whatever it needs to receive, and the reactor, the important part, which this is the difference in every single subset in human design, which is the core. I think this is the important part because it shows you how they operate. So a reactor transforms and converts just like a projector does in human design. So whatever goes into the reactor is not going to be the same thing that comes out of the reactor. So as you see, I have a beaker down here and it says transformed energy. So what went into the reactor was transformed and it came out as a new, just something new. I can't, I have to be very broad because you can put this in any way and I don't want any confusion. It's just very broad because also these systems, this is just general. These systems are meant to have auxiliary systems. We're supposed to add on to our base. It's not just on the projector, but you can add on many systems and I'll probably get into that later because I have my own and I built it out and I can show you all what I mean. So what's really just important is the fact that projectors at the core are like reactors. They transform and convert energy. And again, the population, we don't, it's not a lot of projectors, but this is not the least likely. The least likely is reflector. But main idea, it's a reactor at the core and it transforms energy. So one thing that I do want to say is what came to mind when I thought of projector was projectors are like at the beginning and at the end of everything because it's transforming the old and it's bringing in the new. And you'll understand more what I'm saying as I present the bigger picture. But projectors are guides because they get access to the new. They cleanse the old and birth the new and help guide people into the new. So that is projector. And again, it's a non-energy type, and I am a projector. And if you're a projector, this should resonate with you. And if you're not a projector and it doesn't resonate, that's okay. We're going to get into all the energy types, but I'm actually going to go in order in the way it works so that you all can understand and I don't confuse you all. So next, I should have maybe started with it, but oh well. Next we have reflector. So we're gonna write some information down about reflector. We have reflector. Reflector again is another non-energy type. So reflectors don't generate energy. You'll see why in a second. They're not meant to. Every role in this system is very important, honestly. No role is more important than the other. When they work together in unison, things work. But for that to happen, it needs to be clarity on individuality because we all show up differently. And that's the important part in this. We all show up very differently, and we produce and we express differently. But that's the important part. That is the important part. But understanding yourself and how you show up allows us to grow as a whole. Y'all, I wrote on the table by accident. What a Sharpie, dude. Oh, okay. I don't know how that's gonna get off. I'm not tripping. So we have reflector. Reflector. Reflector is a non-energy type. It is 1% of the population. The duty is to reflect and read only. Read only and reflect. And then it acts as a data collector. Okay? Remember that. Now we're on to the visuals. We're on to the visuals. So guys, right here, and I'll put it on the screen again, we have reflector. As you can see, reflector also has an input, like I said, but there are a few differences and they'll make so much sense. So if you remember what I just said about projector, the end result of projector is the transformed energy, correct? So pay attention because this is a huge loop. It's a huge cycle. The reflector, like I said, the projector is at the end and the beginning. So the projector transforms energy, it transforms, it brings in the new. But projector is technically the end of the cycle, so nobody knows what's new. So the reflectors take that new transformed energy, and their core is data collector. So they take that transformed energy and they collect the data. Remember I said read only? They read the data and reflect it. And that reflection is a signal. They're mirrors. Reflectors don't have energy because they are mirrors. They mirror what is going on. Read only data collectors, that is a reflector, and it's 1% of the population because you don't really need many reflectors. But the ones we do have, if their channel is clear, they can reflect what's going on, and their signal is very important because whatever they signal is literally going to be the reason why certain choices could be made. Okay, so that is reflector. It's very simple. It's not a very complex, hard system. You just have to understand it. So from reflector, we go to manifester. Okay, we go to manifester. Right? Manifester. Manifester is an energy type. So manifestors can generate their own energy. They're about 9% of the population. Their duty is to command and decide, and it acts like a programmable logic controller, a PLC system. If you know anything about a PLC system, that is what manifestors act like, in my opinion. And if you don't know what that is, just go look it up. So we're on to the graphics. Again, the input, we have input, but as you can see, it's a continuous loop. The ending of reflector is the beginning of manifestor, right? So the duty is to command and decide, but what do they use to command and decide? So reflectors act as awareness. They send raw data signals, and because manifestors are the initiators, they are the catalysts. They command, decide, They take that signal and they run it through the PLC. It's a logic controller, and all that does is command and decide, switch on, switch off. You know anything about electrical systems, anything circuits, the PLC is just a decision system. It gets signal, it reads the signal, automatic switch on, switch off, right? That is what a manifestor does. And it's only 9% of the population. In my opinion, I don't really know too much about the percentages, but if you think about it, you don't need many. You don't need many because this should be accurate, right? So the ending of the reflector is the beginning of manifestor, and the ending of manifestor is switch. So it makes the decision, it commands on and off. If you're a manifestor, you know you are a decision maker, you command, you initiate. But you need to make sure you let people know what you're planning to do, okay? Because what you decide affects majority of the population, and we will see why next. We're moving on to the majority, right? We're moving on to the majority. So, guys, the majority of the population is actually y'all boys, the generators. In the manifesting generators is a subset. So you have generator and manifesting generator. It is an energy type, one of two energy types. So you generate your own energy. It is about 68% of the population. This is the majority. Most people are generators or manifesting generators. Your duty is to move. It is to move. You move. You keep things going. You keep the system flowing. You know, you keep it going. You keep it flowing. And you act like an engine or a pump. So keep that in mind. We're going to get into the graphic. Okay, just making sure the mic is on still. All right, let's get into the generator, guys. So again, everything has an input. So for GP, the input is like food, sleep, everything that systems need and to keep us running. And there are some other things that are, input as well, depending on who you are and whatever. But the main important part, the ending of manifestor is the beginning of generator. Think about it. To cut an engine on, to cut anything on, you need that switch. And that switch is a choice of the manifestor. They decide. But generators, they have that engine, they have that core. They're able to turn energy into work. They're able to turn it into usable energy. They're able to turn it on, create work. They're able to move. They create movement. Generators create movement. You get it? You get where I'm going? It's a self-feeding system. But if you remember, if you're a generator, this should make sense. You move, you work, you keep things going, you keep things flowing. The majority of the population is generators and manifesting generators, and we definitely need you all. We definitely do. But if you remember, we started off with projector, and you're probably wondering where this usable energy, like you didn't see this in projector. Let's go back. We're going to talk about it. So we have projector. Remember, we started with a pump. To have the pump going, you need usable energy. Generators create that energy. They feed the projector. The projector reads the energy of the generators and it transforms that. Ending, beginning. Takes endings and transform them into beginnings. And they guide through the end, they guide through the birth, like the ending and the beginning. And then we start the cycle. The cycle. Guys, the cycle. Let's look at it as a bigger picture, and this may make so much more sense. And I'll put it on the screen so you guys can see if you can't see here. So, as you see, we start with I don't know, whatever makes more sense to y'all. I kind of start with projector because projector starts with the transformed energy that then the reflector reads and then sends the signal to manifestors who decide and command. Whatever they decide and command, the generators move that, right? And whatever they move and whatever usable energy they make, it goes back into projectors and the whole system keeps going. It's literally just that simple. It's literally just that simple, right? That's all it is. Most people see these as individual things, and in my mind, it's just like, no, everything is a part of a bigger process. You just have to understand how your puzzle piece works in the bigger picture. And when you understand that, and when more of us understand how our puzzle piece works in the bigger picture, we can get to the bigger picture quickly. It doesn't mean remove your individuality. It actually means be more yourself. When you're more yourself and you understand who you are able to assist in our universal growth. But what I showed you all about these energy types, these are general. Like, it's just the baseline of how things work. A process flow diagram. You see the general things. You don't see the auxiliary systems. And auxiliary systems are subset systems within these bigger systems. So of course you need other connections, you need other lines, you need other things to help these systems run. This is just general. And I can show you all how I built it for myself because I built a system out for myself months ago and I've realized that it actually helped me. And I think that maybe if everybody understands, that they're a system and they learn their system and learn how to work it, you will be just fine. So, a few other things that I want to hit on, and then I'll think about if I want to show you all my system. So, something I wrote down. If you think about this whole process, we can simplify it to a few words, and these few words literally emphasize how life works. So, we have reflectors. Reflectors observe, they observe. We have manifestors, they decide. So you have observe, decide, and then you have generators, they move. You have observe, decide, move, and then you have the projectors, they transform. So it's a whole cycle. The cycle is observe, decide, move, transform. That is almost how every system works in the world. You can break every system down. When we make decisions, if you're like in life, you see what's going on, right? You realize, okay, maybe I want something new. You decide, you move toward the new thing, and you become a different person, or you do something new. That's transformation. Life is about transforming, it's about growth. And when you look at this system and you put it together, you realize it's a growth system for us all. It shouldn't be separate. You shouldn't just be like, oh, I'm a projector. You need to understand your role within the whole system. When you understand your role, not just for you, but for the betterment of the system, you will work better. You will understand better why your role is special because every single role in the system is special. Every single role is special. No role is better than the other at all. If one was gone, the system would fail. So the importance is just understanding you, who you are, how you operate, and work on yourself. When you work on yourself, when we each work on ourselves in these systems, it becomes better. You can't worry about what other people are doing. Work on yourself, better your system, upgrade it, add auxiliary systems that enhance you, right? And the system, as a result, will end up growing exponentially. It will end up growing exponentially, guys. So I actually may show you all a little bit of my system so you can understand what I mean with auxiliary systems and just adding extras. It does not look like what I drew for you all because it is, I curated this idea and made it like super understandable. I'll just show you all my raw system and hopefully you all can understand it. Let me see. Give me a second. I'm gonna save it to file so that you all can see it without things in the way. Okay. So I'll probably upload pictures. It says, welcome to Camelia's system. Camelia optimizes the way her system runs and operates. I specifically call myself a run plant. If you know anything about engineering, Run plants make sure that the plant is up and running and in good health. And you are your own run plant. Every day, you should be making sure that you're running your plant, your system efficiently. You should make sure that you're optimizing your system. When you optimize your system, you make life easier for you. So, we were talking about inputs. This is an example of input. I have community, God, sleep, learning, food, etc. Things that fuel me, things that keep me going. I am a projector. I'm a non-energy type, so I don't necessarily generate my own energy. So I do need fuel. I need certain things external. I don't generate my own energy. But there are auxiliary systems that I've built within myself that help make sure I optimize my energy, and I'll break those down for you. So you see, I have the centrifugal pump. It pumps. It's just a regular pump. Don't think too much about the words. So it pumps into my core. And my core, like I said, is a reactor. It transforms and converts. So I also have a section, a subsection. I have an auxiliary system coming out, and I have a check valve. So basically, it means what comes out of my core, it can't come back in. So when I'm feeling like too much, I'm thinking too much pressure is on me, everything of that sort, I need to get it out. I need to release. So this auxiliary system is called expression. So with my expression, I have my podcast, I have reflection, I journal, I listen to music, I walk, I pray, anything that allows me to express and release pressure on myself, because pressure building on a system will destroy the system. A system over pressuring will destroy a system. So for me, I built the auxiliary system of expression. So I know when I'm feeling overly pressurized, I choose one of those things and I release the pressure. That's the way of me optimizing my system, making sure that I'm not damaging any components, because the way I run directly affects me, but also, like I said, everyone. So, um, here we also have another auxiliary system. This is literally just a self feeding system. So it's self care. So the energy that I get, I take some out of my core and I put it into self care, because what basically happens in my self care auxiliary system is I um, I enhance the energy, I pressurize it. So self care fuels me. So when I put a little bit in there, I grow it exponentially. I feel better when I do my self care and things that make me feel good. And that energy just feeds right back into my core. So it's like I'm taking a little bit and I'm making it a lot. So I'm regenerating energy. And that's a auxiliary system I built for myself. You see, it's not just the regular reactor that we have with projectors, but I made a way to add more energy into my system. I know what fuels me, I know what makes me feel good, and self care is it. So, what's really important is like you don't have to take these baselines and just be baseline. You already do have auxiliary systems that you may not know about, but understanding the baseline allows you to see other things, right? So, as you get comfortable, as you understand your baseline system, you can work with it. You can start adding these things to help you optimize and run better until eventually you're a whole. You got some miles, you got some yards, you got some what's it called? You bought some land, like your system is expanding, right? That's the ultimate goal, to become an extensive, well optimized system, right? We're already systems. Humans operate like supercomputers. So when you understand that and you learn how to optimize your system, is very important. And then the last thing that I'll show you all, so it's not like too much and you don't got to think too much. We have the output. So the output for a projector is literally transformed energy. So what comes into me and I transform. So I get energy, and like most projectors, they guide, they lead, they do things like that. So most of my output is business ideas, community ideas, podcasts, like building relationships, pouring into other people, guiding people. That's my output. And I drew this system before I knew about human design. And it's like crazy to me because it all maps out and it makes sense. I knew about myself unconsciously before I actually knew. And I think it's important. And that's why I wanted to share with you all, because it can really help. Like, this helped me before I actually understood human design. And that's why I wanted to share this with you, because it can enhance how you operate in your life. When you're aware, you move better, right? So that's a little bit it. And I have one more auxiliary system I'll share right here on the side. It's just a column that basically takes a little bit of the output, the things that I create, and it fuels it back into me. So seeing how people react and hearing people say that I help them and things like that, that fuels me. So it's another subset of auxiliary systems. So projectors can optimize their system to where, you know, you're able to, I don't want to be wrong and say